In this video we'll look at the crochet border, a finishing touch to any piece. Stay with me and I'll show you how. We cast onto our hook and we start in any stitch along the edge. I'm starting in this chain space in the middle. We insert our hook, yarn over, pull it through and pull it through again to make a slip stitch. We then chain one. We insert a hook back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook, making a single crochet. We then move along to the next stitch and make another single crochet. Carry on working along the edge, putting a single crochet into each stitch. Keep going until you reach the corner. We have a chain of 3 in this corner, the middle chain being the corner stitch. Now whenever we reach a corner, we want to put in 3 single crochets. So into this chain space we single crochet 5. 1 single crochet for the first chain stitch, 3 single crochets for the corner chain stitch, and 1 single crochet for the last chain stitch. Continue working the round, putting a single crochet into the top of each stitch. And when you reach the corner, put 3 single crochets into that corner stitch. Repeat for the rest of the round. When we reach the end of the round, we join the border together by making a slip stitch into the first single crochet. We then cut off our yarn and cast off by pulling the tail through the loop on the hook. And that's a very simple border if you've crocheted in the round. But what if we've crocheted in rows? Now we'll be working into the sides of the stitches as well as the top and the bottom. We can start anywhere. I'm inserting my hook into a stitch at the bottom. We loop our yarn over the hook and pull it through. We then yarn over and make a slip stitch. We insert our hook back into the same stitch and make a single crochet. We then carry on along the rest of the row, making a single crochet into each stitch. Here I'm also working over my tail thread to weave it in. If you prefer, you can leave it and weave it in at the end. The last stitch in our row is also our corner stitch, and in every corner stitch we put in 3 stitches. Now we'll be working into the sides of the stitches. We'll start with a single crochet. It's very simple, we just put 1 stitch into each of the single crochets. If you pull your work apart you can see a gap between each stitch. This is where we place our hook. We have 4 rows of single crochet, so we need to do 4 single crochets along the side. When we're working into the side of a double crochet, we put 1 stitch around the post of the stitch, just like when we're working into a chain space. We put our next stitch into the top of the double crochet. So each double crochet stitch should have 2 stitches along its side. Put our first stitch around the post of the double crochet. And our second stitch into the top of the double crochet. The treble crochet is the same principle, but we need to add 1 more stitch. So we put 2 single crochets around the post and we put our third stitch into the top of the treble crochet. We single crochet twice around the post, and the top of this treble crochet is our corner stitch, so here we put in 3 single crochets. And now we're working along the top, so we put 1 single crochet into the top of every stitch. And when we reach the final stitch in the row, we make 3 single crochets to make a corner. That corner stitch was also the top of our treble crochet, so we need to make 2 more single crochets around the post of that stitch. We put a single crochet into the top of the next treble crochet, and 2 more single crochets around the post of that stitch. For a double crochet we need 1 less stitch, so we put 1 single crochet into the top of the stitch, and 1 single crochet around the post of the stitch. One single crochet into the top of the stitch, and 1 single crochet around the post of the stitch. For a single crochet, we put 1 single crochet into each stitch. When we come to our corner stitch, we make 3 single crochets into that same stitch. We then carry on along the row, putting 1 single crochet into each stitch. When we come to our last stitch, we join our 2 ends together by inserting our hook into the top of our first single crochet and making a slip stitch. We then cut our yarn and cast off. And that's how to make your work look neat with a border.